Notaro and Big Dee. FM 1047 AM 1340 Mile High Sports, online at milehighsports.com. And remember to download the Mile High Sports phone app to your iPhone or your Android. Notaro and Big Dee. This segment brought to you by Bonnie Bray Flowers. All right, let's talk some CU football. Adam Munsterteiger, part of the Rivals Network, buffstampede.com. Good evening, Adam. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing excellent. How are you guys?
Doing
going
well,
on, man.
Who is going to quarterback the Buffs?
Gosh, I wish I knew the answer to that question. And fortunately, we will know pretty soon here because Davis Webb will be finishing up classes at Texas Tech next week. He had said not too long ago that he planned to be at his next school that Saturday, a week from this Saturday. So I think that's May 21st. So we'll know then. There's all kinds of rumors swirling around out in Berkeley about the fact that he's potentially going to flip to Cal. I can't confirm that that's going to happen because Davis Webb has not told Colorado that he's not going to be a Buff. He's still told them basically the same thing for the last couple months, and so it's a strange deal. And Davis Webb hasn't talked a whole lot, so there's all these rumors flying around. At this point, he still keeps telling Colorado that he's going to be a Buff, but definitely don't feel comfortable about that if you're a Colorado fan right now.
Well, and Adam, I was just talking with Reno about this, and I know you're a huge a guy that follows recruiting, but we're seeing more so now than we ever have recruits flipping, and they are doing it at an absurd rate at this point. I mean, it wouldn't be far-fetched that if you're looking at the other two programs that have been rumored around Davis Webb, you're talking about Cal. Now, Cal hasn't exactly had great success over the last couple of years, but they did have a guy that just went as the number one pick overall who also happens to play quarterback. But then you add in Auburn, who he visited, about a week or so ago, into that mix. If those three schools are after you, what is the draw for CU besides Darren Cheverini?
Well, first off, I don't think he's going to Auburn. I'd be shocked if that happens. I think it's going to be Colorado or Cal.
Okay.
Basically, you're wanting to know what would lead him to want to go to Boulder?
Yeah, I mean, if you have Cal and Colorado on the table, why Colorado?
Well, I think there's a little bit more of a guarantee at Colorado to be the starter. I think that the receiving corps is a little bit better at Colorado. Cal lost a ton in terms of their receiving corps off last year's team, and Colorado's got Jawan Winfrey, a four-star wide receiver coming in that Davis Webb actually helped recruit to Colorado before signing day. So there's also hey, are you going to be a man of your word? You've been committed to Colorado for a long time. He has said he's going to make a selfish decision, so I guess that's not going to be the determining factor for him. And, hey, guys, if Davis Webb comes to Boulder and they win 6 games this year, he's going to be revered by Colorado fans for a very long time. And I would imagine you look at how down Colorado's program's been for a very long time. If he took the Buffs to a bowl game, if you're an NFL scout, isn't that going to catch your attention?
Hey, you take a downtrodden team like that and you turn them into a bowl team? I agree.
What do you see 6 wins in this team?
If Davis Webb comes to Boulder,
okay.
I think honestly, and it's not to say that Sefo couldn't take them to a bowl game. I'm not saying that. I think.
What about Montez?
We saw a little bit more consistency out of Davis Webb in his better part of 2 years as a starter quarterback. Now it's a little bit apples and oranges comparison because he was with that Texas Tech offense. Now they're trying to implement that system at Colorado, so that was the plan when he signed his financial aid agreement with Colorado. And again, not to say that Cal doesn't provide a great opportunity as well. I mean, you guys mentioned the fact that Jared Goff was the number 1 pick in the draft, so I'm not saying that Cal doesn't have anything to offer him as well. But don't discount Colorado and what they can offer to him as well.
What about the wide receivers for the Buffs?
Yeah, Jawan Winfrey's coming in. He will be on campus for sure before the start of summer school on May 30th, and he's going to be maybe their number 1 option from day one. You bring back Shea Fields, who has proven to be an elite route runner, was having a really, really good true sophomore season until he suffered a high ankle sprain last year. You've got some other pieces in there. Devin Ross is coming off a really good spring in that slot role. And Bryce Bobo's had some moments in the past. KB Nanto, a junior college guy that came over. But Jawan Winfrey, I think, is your number one. Or maybe it's a 1A, 1B situation with him in Shea Fields. That's not, obviously Nelson Spruce was fantastic, and it's not like you're just going to replace everything that he did because he was just a steady guy and such a great route runner. But I think still receiver, if you look across the board, you're concerned about the O-line, you're concerned about the depth at linebacker, but in terms of one of the spots you're really actually feeling pretty good about, that's receiver.
Now, I had somebody reach out to me on Twitter, and they asked me a question, and I promised them that I would ask you on air. If Davis Webb does come to Colorado and Sefo Lufau's recovery slows a little bit, is there any way that you see CU maybe redshirting Sefo?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Sefo's recovery has come along pretty well, and then they've been a little bit quiet about it, and Mike McIntyre doesn't want to make any promises just because that Liz Frank injury is one that you definitely don't want to rush a guy back from. But even if he was healthy and Davis Webb came in and was your starter, and if Davis Webb stayed healthy, you're not going to waste that red shirt, I don't think. If Davis Webb comes to Colorado, he wins the job and he gets a severe injury, then you're going to have to play Sefo Lufau. But if you could definitely see a situation where they would redshirt him for sure.
Now, if they did redshirt him, does that hurt him for the QB competition the following season with Montez and whoever else they bring in?
No, I mean, if you're a Colorado fan, that's a scenario you want. You obviously want the most competition, and I think Steven Montez still is kind of the future at the quarterback position. But even if it doesn't happen for him until his junior year, that's not the end of the world either. You would certainly hope that he wouldn't get impatient and transfer out of the program. But having Sefo Lufau and Steven Montez on your roster going into 2017 would definitely be the ideal situation if you could somehow pull that off.
Now, I want to talk a little bit of defense here. What can we expect from Addison Gillum this year? I mean, his freshman year was phenomenal, banged up last year. What can we expect from him this year? I mean, this has got to be the year where he kind of takes over and leads this defense, yes?
It's been 2 rough seasons for Addison Gillum, and there's been so many injuries that he's in illness and all the stuff he's had to endure the last couple of years. I would almost caution Colorado fans to not expect anything really out of Addison Gillum. That's tough to say because he's such a special talent.
Right.
And you root for him. This is the kid that's already graduated. He was a captain as a sophomore, and he just is so fun to watch play with his closing speed when he's healthy. It's just been an unfortunate rash of injuries and illness that he hasn't been able to get over. They held him out this spring for precautionary reasons. They expect him to be full go in camp, but gosh, it's one of those I'll believe it when I see it type of things at this point, just because he's been hurt so much recently. And I mentioned earlier that inside linebacker depth is a big concern. That's one of maybe the top 2 concerns for this team going into camp.
Now, what changes have transpired since Darren Cheverini joined this coaching staff? I know he brings a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. He's got more school pride than probably just about anybody that you'll ever run into in Boulder. What does he add to this team on the football side of things and then on the recruiting side of things as well?
Well, definitely start with the recruiting side of things. He has not only helped rise up CU's level of recruiting to a different level since he came, he's pushed the other assistants on the staff to get better and become more active on social media and all that stuff. You looked at it. He helps bring in a 4-star prospect in Jawan Winfrey, and they've got 2 blue-chip, 2 4-star wide receivers that are in high school right now that are verbally committed to Colorado, class of 2017 recruits. Colorado's recruiting right now, they've got 2 4-star recruits and then 2 high 3-star in-state prospects. Last year at this time, they didn't have a commitment. They were actually the second to last power conference team in the country to get a verbal commitment last cycle, so he's definitely risen it up there. In terms of the offense, they're implementing some of the stuff that they ran at Texas Tech, and they're going up-tempo all the time now versus in the past when they would kind of change up their pace offensively. And you're going to see a lot of even with the run concepts, a lot of what Texas Tech did. And it's kind of a misnomer because it's called the air raid that they don't run the ball, but they actually had a running back, I think it was like 1,600 yards rushing last year. So they do want to run the ball. But the biggest thing you'll notice a difference with when you turn on the TV this fall is them going up tempo all the time. Now that's there's a learning curve involved with that. Obviously, it's something that you hope throughout the course of spring ball and practice, in preseason practice, that these guys get used to that tempo, but it's still going to be the first year in kind of this new system. So, yeah, a big key for them will be, how quickly the offensive guys can adjust to that. But his fingerprints have been all over this program ever since he arrived. And Davis Webb would be another thing that he would be a big part of bringing if Davis Webb does indeed arrive in Colorado still.
Adam Munsterteiger from BuffStampede.com joining us tonight with Notaro and Big Dee on AM 1340, FM 1047, Mile High Sports. Adam, what is the biggest weakness for this Buffs team?
Well, the offensive line really struggled last year. They gave up more sacks than any other team in the Pac-12, and a big part of that was the fact that Jeremy Irwin, their left tackle, got hurt, and they were kind of moving parts around. They do really bring back most guys. They've got Tim Lanat, who was their top signee a couple years ago, stepping into the right guard role. They shifted the coaching staff around a little bit. Clayton Adams, who was coaching the running backs and tight ends before, is now coaching the O-line. So there's some fans that are pretty optimistic about that. Again, it's kind of a wait-and-see type of thing. And then again, going back to depth at inside linebacker, if Addison Gillum isn't healthy again this year, that's not going to be one of the strengths of this defense.
Now, I will admit, everybody that I've talked to that is surrounded around that Boulder program has told me that the changes that Mike McIntyre has implemented and followed through on has really uplifted the culture there in Boulder. It looks like they are on the right track, but at the same time, as well as I do, wins are king. So regardless of the strides that they've made on building the program, is he there if they don't get 6?
At this point in time, I would lean towards no. And, I think you've seen them be kind of that close but no cigar,
right,
saying the last 2 years. And this year, you've got 43 scholarship upperclassmen. So at this point, in the Davis Webb situation, kind of, obviously is a big question mark right now, but you've got enough experience on your team. And that's credit to Mike McIntyre that he's fixed the attrition issue. The fact that they've been able to actually finally get to a point where they've got 43 scholarship upperclassmen. That was the biggest issue before he got to town, is that they were constantly losing guys and then having to play freshmen and sophomores all the time. And so, I think this is year 4. You've already been close the last 2 years. You got to break through this year.
Now, this Winfrey kid, I know people are just extremely excited about what he will be able to bring to this offense. For the people that don't know and haven't seen anything on him, haven't watched any kind of film, anything along those lines, what type of receiver is he? Is he a big body? Is a possession? Is he a mixture of speed and possession receiver? What kind of player can we expect Winfrey to be?
Yeah, good question. Actually, I did a story on Jawan Winfrey this week, and I asked him about that. Describe yourself for people that haven't seen you play. And he says he's a 6'2" receiver, so he's a big receiver. But he says, and Jawan said that college coaches always compliment him on this. He plays like a small receiver, so he gets in and out of his breaks and is very fluid, like a 5'11" guy with that 6'2" frame. He was a blue chip recruit coming out of, he's from New Jersey, and he went to at Maryland for a year and got in trouble a couple times, actually got dismissed from the Terrapins program, goes to Coffeyville Community College, and you're out in the middle of Kansas, you're going to get humbled pretty quick. And so that's what happened to him out there. And again, a 4-star recruit coming out of there. He had a lot of options. He was actually verbally committed to Pittsburgh for a while until Darren Cheverini came over and got him to Boulder. But everything I hear from people up in Boulder is they expect him to come in and compete for that number 1 receiving job from day one. So he's a big guy that can move.
Now, no, we don't ever really want to talk about these type of subjects when it's pertaining to this football program, but a couple of suspended Colorado players were formally charged with 3 felonies. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but do you have any more information on that?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate deal. Dino Gordon, who wasn't going to really play this year, but was a guy as a redshirt freshman that Darian Hagan, the running backs coach, was excited about for the future. And then NJ Follow, one of their top signees a couple years ago that was actually expected to be an important depth piece at linebacker and going to be a big-time special teams contributor for them. They're alleged to have stolen some laptops from a dorm room and some video games and stuff, and apparently they've got them on video. NJ Follow apparently has been really cooperative, and so we'll see how this works out. Obviously, you hate to see these kids ruin a chance. We'll see how the legal system plays out. Right now, they're suspended indefinitely from the team. At this point, it's not looking too good for either of these guys to get on the field, but we'll see how it plays out.
All right, Adam, we can't end this interview on that note. So, as you know, Reno is a Ram, okay?
Yep.
He's all Ram. So I want you to tell me why CU will win September 2nd of this year. Tell him why the Buffs will beat the Rams on the 2nd of September.
Well, from the CSU side, you talk to people up there in Fort Collins, and maybe Reno disagrees with this, but it sounds like people are really, really optimistic about the future under Bobo. But it sounds like this is going to be kind of more in that rebuilding type of year. It doesn't sound when I talk about Colorado having 43 upperclassmen and being kind of a little bit more. I see CSU maybe where Colorado was a year ago or 2 years ago, and I see them building into a good team. I don't think they have quite the experience that Colorado has going into this game. I don't know. Maybe you disagree there, Reno. Let me know what you think.
Bang bang, shots fired. CU, baby.
I'm worried about the CSU defense.
Okay.
The D-line, according to Kelly Lyle, he was on earlier tonight, they're lacking. The secondary's soft, too. So, I mean, if your D-line's bad and you can't get pressure for a subpar secondary, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. So, I mean, I think they're going to still go 8-4, but it's Mountain West 8-4.
Yeah.
You know, that's like 5-7 probably
Right.
in the Pac-12. Like
Right.
what I think CU, I think CU will probably be 5-7.
Okay.
So
yeah, I can see that. It sounds like Bobo though is laying a good foundation up there in Fort Collins.
Sure. Well, he had a good foundation to work with after what McElwain did. So, you know, although McElwain completely screwed over his coaching staff, but that's a whole other subject. But yeah, as far as the players and the recruiting, I think it's going well. Hey, Adam, we appreciate it, my friend.
Anytime, guys. Thanks.
Thanks for sticking
Talk to you.
around for a
Adam
little bit longer,
Munsterteiger
man.
from Buff Stampede. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. It's Mile High Sports.